So hi and welcome. This is Kevin Leipsic, host of Contractor TV. Contractor TV is focused on providing content to help contractors start, grow, and manage a successful construction business. We're sponsored by the Contractors Resource Center, which specializes in providing legal, financial, and insurance services for contractors. Today, I'm excited. We have Eric Wick as a guest, and Eric is the founder of the safety team. Hey, Eric, how are you? Good
Hey,
morning.
Kevin, doing well. Happy to be
Good.
here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. You and I've been working on this for a while to get this recording done, and I'm excited. This is an important topic, right? We want to talk about safety, OSHA compliance, a little bit about workers' comp. We're going to cover all kinds of topics today. But before we jump in, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about why you created this safety team.
Sure. So my name's Eric Wick, and I founded a company. Legal name is Safety Team Technologies, but yeah, we go by the Safety Team.
Yeah.
I've got a background of a little over 15 years working in the insurance industry and kind of differentiating myself from all the other insurance agents and insurance personnel out there who focus on price and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And I've always differentiated myself by focusing more on value-added services, especially safety and OSHA compliance.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended
Yeah.
up kind of focusing more now solely on safety compliance support and consulting contractors
Yeah.
on safe practice, best practices for safety.
Yep, yep. Perfect. So when did you start the company? It's fairly new, right?
Yeah, so we've been working on the platform, designing it and developing it since early 2022, and then we launched it in late 2023.
Okay. And so when people sign up for your solution, what are some of the main reasons people do this?
So there's a lot of reasons. I think the number one reason is when you're a small contractor, you've got all of these plates that you're spinning and all these tasks that you have to tackle each day.
Right.
Safety compliance is probably not at the top of the list. It's important, but it's one of those things that you just never really get around to doing it.
Yeah.
The number one time suck when it comes to safety is hosting safety meetings with your employees. So all these years I've been helping my clients run their safety meetings. I was thinking to myself, wow, if there was a way to automate this and just develop some solution that was kind of a set it and forget it
Make it easy.
autopilot solution for safety meetings and attendance reporting, that would be such a hit, because so many contractors need something like that. So if we can make it affordable and accessible for anyone,
Yeah.
uh, I knew there'd be a need for it. And
Yeah.
so that's how it all started.
Got it. So I guess for those that may be watching this that are like new in the business, I know for our agency at the Contractors Resource Center, we work a lot with newly licensed contractors. Um, Share a little bit with us about, what is a safety program, right? And why is it important? And why is it a legal issue that a contractor can run into if they don't have a safety program? So
Yeah.
again, just very
The two,
basic level, right? Just
yeah. I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. Number one, the angle I come from is you want to be in compliance so you can protect your company, so you're not going to get sued, or so you're not going to have out of control workers' comp premium, or your business isn't going to have to shut down. So I
mhm.
try to shelter contractors from those risks that they may not even be aware of. But the number two reason, and for some it could be number one, obviously, protect the employees, right? It's
Right.
your obligation if you're hiring workers to come get work done for you, that you train them in the safe way to do their job. And
Mhm.
so that's OSHA's stance, and it's important. But at the same time, employees take the mindset, hey, I'm a smart, capable human being. I know how to stay safe. You don't have to train me in safety.
Mhm.
Well, it's a legal requirement. So,
Mhm.
that's where we come in. It's like we're going to protect you, and then we're going to protect your employees.
And what are some of those, I guess, legal requirements? Is it, I'd imagine things like documenting these safety programs, having certain OSHA compliant safety material available. Talk to us a little bit about how that works.
So, okay, so I've sat in on probably close to 30 Cal OSHA audits. And I know OSHA from a federal level is very similar, maybe in some cases not as strict as Cal OSHA. But the first thing they're going to ask for is, let us see your IIPP. That stands for
and what is that, right?
Prevention Program.
Okay, right.
And I've seen a lot of contractors or even other blue collar businesses, before the OSHA auditor comes, they can go online and they can download some template.
Google IIIP and find something and say, here it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of elements to the IIPP they may not find and they may miss and get dinged for. So you got to have a heat illness prevention program in there. You got to have hazardous materials communication program, code of safe practices, emergency action plan, and there's a few others, fall protection. But the number one area of an IIPP that I see contractors suffer with the most is the safety meeting documentation. Because Cal OSHA wants to see that you're hosting and documenting attendance for a safety meeting every 10 working days.
Every 10 days.
Every 10 working days. So it ends up being, bi-weekly.
Sure.
And that's time consuming. I mean, you could kind of, rush and prepare some of the other item, pay $1,000 for some safety guy to put it together for you, but you can't forge signatures for all your employees going back a year or 2 years for safety meetings. I mean, you can, but you're running another risk by doing that.
Yeah, right. I'm sure you can, or perhaps cannot verify. You've seen that happen, right?
I've seen it done, but it's
right. The panic, right? Panic sets in,
Oh yeah.
Oh crap, I'm going to get audited. The OSHA guy or gal is coming. I better figure out what this is and prepare for it, right?
Oh yeah. I've had clients texting me at 1 in the morning because they have an audit the next day. Hey, what do you think of these attendance records? Do they look legit? I'm like, man, that's on you. You're gonna have to figure that out. You're on your own.
Right. So so tell us a little bit about how the safety team, addresses those. I believe, you've got a nice, app for the phone. Walk us through, I guess, a little bit of the process of somebody says, hey, I know I need this. I want to be compliant. Where do they begin? What's the process?
So the goal of the safety team was for us to be able to say, hey, we've got a program, a platform that can do your safety meetings for you automatically. You don't have to do them anymore. It's like set it and forget it. So how does that work? So there's 2 different platforms. There's our online admin portal. So for the business owner, or if they have their office staff or their wife or husband or whoever might help them, they access their account online. All they need to do online is keep employee information accurate. So if you terminate a guy or he quits for whatever reason, you just log in and delete them from the account. Or you hire some new guys, you log in, you add them. And then they're automatically set up. They get a text from us notifying them they were enrolled in the safety team app, to download the app for free for the employees from the App Store. And they can start watching safety videos right away. So the employees, when they download the app, they'll get a text on the morning and afternoon of every scheduled safety meeting date. And then they have 48 hours from the date the meeting's scheduled. They have 48 hours to watch the video. They're normally very short, precise videos. They're all OSHA approved and vetted. They're all industry relevant, high quality videos.
And when you say short, is this an hour? Is this 5 minutes? Is it 2
minutes?
What's an example? Yeah. Short could be relative, right? So a couple minute video they're watching.
A couple minute video. It goes right into the topic. It covers the elements of the topic that OSHA requires.
Okay.
And I mean, these videos are even used sometimes to train new OSHA field inspectors. So, it's the number one company. I vetted like 4 video production companies, and far and away, this is the number one company that we work with.
Okay.
So the videos are short. The employee watches it. They sign their name on their screen with their finger. The attendance forms automatically populate in the client's account. So they have those whenever they need them if they're getting audited. And they also, the admins get an email periodically letting them know which employees have completed the training and which ones still have not.
Nice.
So they can
Nice.
remind them they got to do it.
Yeah.
And the
Reporting.
best part of it is the quiz. So we turn the quiz that comes after they sign their name into a game. So they get points, and our app has a mascot. His name is Max the Safety Tiger. He always gets confused for Tony the Tiger, Frosty Flakes.
Right.
But he kind of smiles if they get an answer right. He frowns if they get an answer wrong. So they answer 3 to 5 questions and they get points. And then there's a leaderboard that the employees see in the app. So they see how they compare to the other employees.
Nice, a little friendly competition.
Yep.
Nice.
And it's actually a lot of the guys out in the field, they kind of are getting a kick out of it. And then if the company offers some form of recognition or a reward, like a gift card, whatever it might be, it just helps. You know, it's kind of making safety part of their culture and getting the employees engaged. And we're starting to see results on the company's claims frequency. It's going down.
Yeah. So which is a huge point, right? So speak to that a little bit, especially with your background with insurance, right? On how important that safety program and that XMOD, or, you know, keeping the, that XMOD rate, which we know is, you know, the base level of a workers' comp rate, because if there's accidents, that workers' comp insurance is going to be more expensive, right? So speak to that a little bit based on your background and how that can impact your cost of running your business because you're paying more for workers' comp insurance.
Yeah, so workers' comp rates can fluctuate so drastically, especially for contractors. I mean, I've seen dozens have to shut down because their quotes and their bids on jobs are no longer competitive because their workers' comp premium has skyrocketed.
Right.
So you might think if you have one guy get really badly hurt, he's hospitalized, he might have permanent disability, that's the worst that can happen for your company. That's actually not true. What hurts you most as far as your rates go are a high frequency of small claims. So if you're a small contractor, you've got, let's say, 5 employees, and you've had 3 injuries in the past year, 2 years, 3 years, or let's say 3 injuries a year for 3 years, your workers' comp premium can quadruple or quintuple.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're stuck going to state fund instead of going to a more competitive option.
Right, because no other carriers are going to want to take the risk, right?
Right. So if you're stuck paying, you know, a $30 rate, that means you're paying 30% of your payroll to workers' comp. It's going to be tough to compete with other contractors that have a perfect claim history and they're actually getting a 30% discount. So it's unfortunate that I see so many contractors, they don't take safety serious until they've experienced this.
Right, they're reactive mode, right?
Yeah, reactive mode. Whereas if they would have just put some safety program in place, took it serious from the get-go, they end up doing much better.
Right. And let's jump into cost. I mean, we're talking about, the cost of running your business. Tell us a little bit how I was just blown away how affordable you're offering this solution. It just seems like a no-brainer. So talk to us a little bit how the pricing model works.
Yeah, Kevin, we really wanted to make it as affordable as possible so everyone with one employee or more could use it. So for contractors in California, you're supposed to be hosting a safety meeting every 10 days. So that ends up being twice a month. So we charge $8 per employee per month. And the majority of that is the cost that we absorb to pay for the videos.
Right.
We have to pay per view because we don't own the video. So every time an employee watches a video, we've got to pay.
Yeah.
We have to pay for the text messages that go out. We have to pay for the hosting of our software on a server. I mean, and there's other costs too. So we just try to keep it as low as possible for our clients so they can comply. Yeah. And then, hopefully word spreads and we get more volume, and then it could work out well for us too. But for the time being, we just want to do our best to help our clients.
Right. And again, it seems like a no-brainer for $8 a month for an employee, right, to be compliant. And I know we talked before doing this recording here, we're going to offer promotion and a discount for those that reference this video or call the contact information up above. But before we get into the promo, remind us a little bit, and I'm not sure if we covered this well enough. What are the, not only the financial, but the legal implications of, not being compliant, right? Or of a newly licensed contractor not putting this type of safety program in place, having an accident, and just talk about how that can snowball by not being proactive in getting this taken care of when you're a new contractor.
Yeah, so I think we talked enough about workers' comp premium and what could happen there.
Right.
The other
Right.
risk is the OSHA audit. So here's something important for everyone who's listening to know. If your employee is injured on the job and they're hospitalized and they have to stay in the hospital overnight, which means they're admitted in the hospital, you have 8 hours to call Cal OSHA and notify them. If you don't, it's an automatic $5,000 fine. There's no way around it. I've never seen anyone get out of the $5,000 fine.
That's the business owner, Eric, right? The business owner is responsible to contact.
Yeah, or anyone at the business has to call OSHA and say, here's our company name, our employee was hospitalized.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen next is you're going to be audited. So that's another surefire way that you're going to get audited. So if you're not ready to put the safety team and a safety program in place yet, well, as soon as your employee gets sent to the hospital, you better get started because the OSHA auditor is coming soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Great to know. So let's talk about a little bit about the promotion here. So what do we want to offer people that are watching this video, or, contact myself and the contact information up above? I mean, it's already, I think, a no-brainer at $8, but what do we want to offer today for, those that are interested in putting a program in place?
So I can offer two incentives. One, I'll give you a 10% lifetime discount if you've got less than 5 employees. So it adds up over time.
Okay.
The other, if you've got 5 employees or more, I'll offer to create the injury illness prevention program that includes all the elements that I mentioned earlier. The heat illness prevention plan, the fall protection plan, the hazard communication plan, everything. I'll put it together for you in electronic format and email it to you if you sign up.
Okay, perfect.
And that takes a lot of time, so I might not offer that forever.
Okay, limited time availability. And before we wrap up here, again, because there's probably a lot of new contractors that may be watching this, help us clarify a little bit between this IIIP that you mentioned, that this program, and the safety documentation, right? Because I don't want to have people get confused. Well, I can get all that for $8 a month. So help us differentiate between what you were just offering, that I know typically is, people charge over $1,000 to get that built, that,
oh yeah, at least
IIP. So help us understand the difference between that and what the safety team's offering for the OSHA compliance.
Sure. So the IIPP, that's the entire safety program, but you don't just put the binder together with all the documents and put it on the bookshelf and think that you're good.
Right.
Because part of the IIPP is implementing it. So there's some paperwork in there the employees have to sign. That's like the code of safe practices, the hazard communication plan. They all have a signature page. The other is the safety meeting attendance reports. So you've got to show that you're hosting a meeting every 10 days or twice a month. And that's where safety team comes into play, and we'll just automate that for you. So the rest of it, you pretty much can have the binder sitting there and the employees, the documents that they've signed. The one other piece you should have is the quarterly hazard assessment forms. We include the quarterly hazard assessment checklists in the IIPP.
Okay.
But it is your responsibility once a quarter to pull out one of the pages, one of the checklists. It's like 25 pages of different checklists that you can pull out and go do. Every quarter, pull out one page. It'll have like 15 questions that it's like hazard assessment, like walk a job site. What hazards do you observe? Do you see like an extension cord that's frayed? Do you see a ladder that needs to be repaired or thrown away?
Right. Okay.
A bunch of questions like that. And you just go through, check, check, check. If you found something, you're supposed to write a little what you did to address it and fix it, and then just put that in the binder.
So these are, excuse me, Eric, so these are really two different solutions that a contractor should have, right? They should have this IIIP and the documentation of having these safety programs, which is what essentially the safety team helps automate and provide.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all part of the IIPP. And so the IIPP is like a document that needs to be constantly updated with your safety meeting attendance forms and those quarterly hazard reports. Perfect. But again, if the auditor wants to see a year of those quarterly those hazard assessments, you can have 4 of them. So I see contractors, do that before the auditor comes. But obviously, that's not how you're supposed to do it, right? You're supposed to really walk around, observe for hazards, and write it up and report it.
Yeah. So
put it in a binder.
Yeah. So the takeaway here is this should be a no-brainer for someone to get started with, especially at $8 per employee to help make sure you're being compliant. Before we close, I know we already talked about kind of the promo, but what, Eric, what have we covered so far in this video that if a contractor's to watch this and think about the 2 to 3 most important takeaways, what would those be?
Look, so the number one is you're going to at some point realize that safety is important. It's a legal requirement. Your employees, if they start getting hurt because they're not thinking about safety, it's going to come back and bite you. So we're just offering the first solution ever that can fully automate it for you. If you want to try and go do safety meetings on your own, that's great. It's probably going to end up working better if you can do it. But you got employees who speak Spanish and English, and let's say they're at 6 different job sites. How are you going to get them all together without losing a bunch of money? Lost productivity, and it's got to be twice a month. So look at $8 per employee per month versus losing an hour to 2 hours of productive time to try to run a meeting that might not even be as effective. Who's going to gather the material from OSHA and present it to the employees? Yeah. So we've got all the topics you need to present preloaded in our app, specific to your trade.
English and Spanish.
And English and in Spanish. Yeah, I'm sure we should have mentioned that earlier. So, well, if it's not Spanish.
Espanol.
Yep. That's the first question when you open the app. It says what language, English or Spanish.
Perfect.
One of the other takeaways we haven't brought up yet, but there's another type of lawsuit trending in California that attorneys, when they represent an injured worker for a workers' comp claim, they're asking the worker, hey, were you trained in the safe way to do that, to do your job, or to do whatever you were doing when you got hurt? Did they train you the safe way to do it? Right. If the answer to that's no, then they try to add on what's called a serious and willful misconduct allegation, saying you knew your employees were in harm's way, you didn't train them, so that's serious and willful misconduct, and you end up, that's not covered by workers' comp insurance. That has to be paid out of pocket.
That's separate. Yep.
So I didn't come on to try and spread fear and make everyone
right. Well, this is important, right? And our core business at the Contractors Resource Center is insurance, right? We do legal and financial, but those are really referral partners that we refer out to that are experts in the trades. But because our core business is general liability for contractors and workers' comp insurance for contractors, this is a key product. So, again, I was excited to have you here, help explain all this. For those that, still have questions or want to take advantage of the promotion, the contact information is all above. Feel free to reach out to myself. Happy to put you in touch with Eric and his team. Eric, we covered a lot. So, I appreciate your time today. Any final words? Anything else you want to cover?
No, I think we covered just about
everything. We covered a lot.
Let's leave something out there so they can reach out to us with more questions.
Got it. Fair enough.
Thanks a lot for having me, Kevin.
You bet. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks, Eric.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.